It's Living the Bream with the host of Fox News Sunday, Shannon Bream.
This week on Living the Bream, a very special guest who is doing something all of us should be aware of, honoring, applauding. She and her family as a whole, as we're talking and recording this on Veterans Day, they have given enormously and served our country and continue to do that around the clock. So I want you to meet and give a warm welcome on Living the Bream this week to Jen Ostan, who is a caregiver, and she's actually got a special title here. She is an Elizabeth Dole Caregiver Fellow who works on these issues of family, of serving our vets, of those especially who are in need of care. Jen, welcome to Live in the Bream. We've had the privilege of having your husband, Will, and it's an honor to have you now, too.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here today, Shannon.
So let's talk about this. Veterans Day, we rightfully have a focus on our veterans, but as you well know better than anyone, family is so much a part of this, whether our veterans are healthy and active duty and serving, or whether in your case where they're continuing the fight after leaving the service. Tell us a little bit about the work you and Will have done, and then we'll get into your role as a caregiver too.
Sure. So Will and I, we run a nonprofit called Arc of Justice, and we have been working tirelessly really since Will got medically retired back in 2019. And so we founded it then, actually with you on Fox News. And we have been working to pass legislation in Congress called the Wounded Warrior Bill of Rights. Our one ask of listeners today is if they could still contact their congressman and ask them to sponsor 8081. We are super pleased to announce we actually have 13 co-sponsors, but we want more. It's always awesome to have so many supporters, and I'm really grateful to say that we have bipartisan support right now. So that's one of the major things we're working on. The other thing, Shannon, is he still represents clients. He's represented 72 clients going through the active duty medical separation process. And so that's something he works on as well.
Yeah. And so folks know, you can go back and listen to our podcast and see the things that we've done with Will in the past. He found this out firsthand, that there is a weird loophole, bureaucratic kind of nightmare for people who are in service. They have medical issues. They want to continue to serve, and they want to have the opportunity to get better and stay in service. And for many, many men and women out there in service who have a medical issue while they're active duty, if they want to try to fight and stay, there are some real roadblocks they're running into. And so Will found this out firsthand. Jen found this out firsthand. And now you guys are advocating on behalf of others who are running into this brick wall. And it seems like there's this frustration of being passed from one agency to another, trying to get answers. And often the clock runs out on these men and women who are trying to stay in active duty service while also trying to recover.
That's right. That's exactly right. You said it beautifully. Essentially, everyone is afforded or basically given the right through the Army regulations and other branches that they should get up to 1 year of treatment to get better so that they can either fight for their career or maybe really rehabilitate enough, that their transition out of the military is that much easier. So that is something that we have, we've seen it firsthand, we've experienced it firsthand. And sadly, Shannon, at this point, we're 4 years in, and where it used to be our goal to sort of get the people at the top to become aware of the problem and give them the chance to do the right thing, they've had that chance. They're not doing the right thing. And so now we're really looking to all of our platforms and circles of influence to expose the wrongdoing. And I want to be specific. This is not the Army or any of the military branches. This is the Defense Health Agency. And so what we're doing now is sort of a public awareness campaign, and there may even be a documentary in the works. So we're going to keep checking back in with you on that one.
Yeah, I mean, we want to know, because I think that everybody wants to work for the best for our men and women in uniform, especially those who want to fight to stay, continuing serving our country. But there is this bureaucratic mess that we've got to find answers and kind of nail down responsibility so that the problem can get solved. And I know that's what you guys are all about. So tell us about 8081. What would that do for the efforts you are now working on?
Sure. We kind of give some broad categories. First and foremost, it's going to require the Defense Health Agency to answer for their mistakes. A brief is going to be required, and it'll cause an investigation to be able to see where the breakdown is. Secondly, we want it to restore accountability so that way the leadership isn't right now there's sort of these rogue operators that have all the power. And anytime a soldier wants to appeal to that power and say, hey, you overlooked something, or I actually am able to get better, I'd like to save my career, there's no accountability and the appeal system is broken. So what we're doing is we are restoring the age-old tradition of going up your chain of command and being able to have someone that you can talk to when you need to appeal. So those are the basics that are in the bill.
Okay, and you guys, I know you fought all over the Hill to try to get people involved, and you said you have a lot of co-sponsors, but if people want to know more, where can they go to get some specific information on what's in that legislation and who they should contact?
Right. We're actually going to work hard to get more information up on our site. I've actually been working a lot on that today, but we are in close contact with Max Berry, and he is someone on the Hill that has worked just tirelessly for us. So what I suggest is that you reach out to us first at arcofjusticeusa@reagan.com. That's our email address. And then we're going to put you in touch with Max Berry, and he's out of Representative Mass' office. And then he is going to go ahead and send all the necessary information to your representative.
Okay, very interesting. Okay, so if you want to know more about what's there and whether or not you think that's something you actively want to try to help out with, check it out with Arc of Justice, and you can Google HR 8081 and find out more. Okay, so Jen, so important that people know, and I think people have some concept of this, but families really serve alongside their members. I've seen this in my family, and I consider you just as much a part of the military operation as the person in uniform. Whether they're active duty, whether they are retired, whether they're fighting some of the battles that you guys are fighting, and with ongoing health battles, for Will, you very much step into this role when you need to as caregiver. Your girls, you've got twin girls who you use the term hidden helpers. And kids involved in this process and part of a military family are very much actively part of the mission as well. So talk about your role as caregiver, what you wish that we knew about caregivers, and how we can help.
Sure. I appreciate you talking about this today, Shannon, because of course Veterans Day is all about our American heroes who served our country, and we absolutely salute them for their sacrifice today. But we also want to recognize the hidden ones. We often say they're the ones in the shadows who are drafted to serve beside the veterans, providing constant care and support behind the scenes. And so the Elizabeth Dole Foundation, who I work with, has deemed some cool terms. So they refer to the caregivers as hidden heroes, and they refer to the children of the caregivers and the wounded warriors as hidden helpers. And in the past years, the focus has really been shining a light on the caregivers themselves, the people in my position. And then more recently, we've realized that there really is a trickle-down effect to the children. And more than ever, we need to get resources into their hands. So just as some examples, even today, what I'm doing this very minute is I'm stepping in for my husband, because he was actually slated to be on this podcast, and at the last minute, he was having a really hard health day. That happens more than people can imagine in many military homes across the nation. And caregivers have to step up at the last minute, ready or not. And so we do things day in and day out. Most of them you're not going to see. That's why they're called hidden. And a lot of times we ask our children to help too. And so my kids have stepped up a lot more than their peers. They've had to kind of grow up faster than their peers, doing a lot of chores and extra things that they probably would rather just be playing, but they realize a lot is falling on my shoulders and they're helping out. I think one of the main things I could communicate today is that they need help putting words to their story. They don't know how to articulate it because it's so complex. So that is why we want to shine a light on them as well.
Are there places online that people can go to do things that would lend to the efforts of caregivers and kids, or special places like if you are a caregiver or have kids that are in this role, helping vets, helping active duty folks? Are there special resources or places that you would point them to?
Absolutely. First and foremost, I would go to hiddenheroes.org. That's through the Elizabeth Dole Foundation. And from there, you're going to see multiple resources. We have a Hidden Heroes community that's through Facebook. And I'll tell you what, it is a safe place where caregivers can come and share their story and vent and find support and find very, very valuable resources. In addition to that, the Dole Foundation is now actually has launched a campaign for hidden helpers. They're partnering with the History Channel and A&E, and it's been amazing to see how other veteran service organizations and military service organizations are rallying around this campaign so that they can provide resources to the children. This can be anything from community groups to scholarships for college, and most importantly, mental health care.